Maraming salamat, Frankie. I treasure that compliment. The first time a national artist has said something nice about me. I will ask my staff to have a transcript of the remarks. We will inscribe it in. We will have it inscribed by the National Historical Institute. Thank you. Thank you for your kind words. Let me greet our guest, Ambassador Tomas Calvillo of Mexico, Prime Minister Cesar Villalba, my colleague Letty Shahan. Letty and I work on the National Commission on Culture and the Arts, the first ever agency that openly supported our arts and cultural institutions in this country. Let's clap for our and there's so many distinguished friends here. I have to greet by law our national artist, Imao. He's very close to me. I didn't see him. Is he here? Ben Kam. My partner in crime in education, his brother Armin, his Secretary Armin, Luistro, Justice Dog, my colleague in the company, and many of my friends in the academy, in the arts and culture. As Frankie already said, 24 years ago, Frankie, 1987, you also convened, almost one generation ago, you convened the Solidarity Conference on the Filipino Agenda for the 21st Century. It was February 1987, and the country had just emerged from an authoritarian regime. The Constitution was just ratified 6 days before that. And it shows, it was a very strong turnout for the plebiscite, and it shows how strong and clear the Filipinos wanted a constitutional democracy. Then as now, we have an Aquino as president. A president that was voted into office on the wave of high hopes and expectations. Then, as now, I think we are optimistic about our future, but at the same time, we are rather cautious. We want to see how things are moving. For the first time, our Constitution enshrined arts and culture at the center of a democratic regime. And I'll just cite some of this provision because it rings so beautifully. The Constitution says, the state shall give priority to arts and culture to foster patriotism and nationalism, accelerate social progress, and promote total human liberation and development. That's one section. And it immediately says, it decrees the state shall conserve, promote, and popularize the nation's historical and cultural heritage and resources, as well as artistic creation. The arts, I think I need not emphasize this, the arts are central to our identity as a distinct and unique culture, as a dynamic people, as an independent and enlightened nation. Back then, back in '87, we identified 10 areas of inquiry, 10 areas that impact on our national, on our society, and our patrimony, on our nation, on our country. And they are, let me see, I can just tick off. They're agrarian reform, culture and values, the military's role in development, government structure, the problem of Mindanao, bureaucracy, foreign relations, environment and ecology, economic recovery and social progress, and the administration of justice. One generation has passed, 24 years has passed since then, and we ask, have we risen above all these problems? Or have they become more complicated and been compounded over the years? Have we grown in unity and solidarity as a nation? Or have we become even more divided as a people? Let me just refresh your mind. There are competitiveness testing and leagues passing on or being enunciated and promulgated almost every other month. In all those competitiveness leagues, unfortunately, the Philippines has been ranking in the lower third. Whether it's in ease of doing business, in tourism, in information technology, in innovation, and even in education. In Southeast Asia, and this is almost tragic, in Southeast Asia, the only country we are better and we bested are Cambodia and Timor-Leste. All the rest are, in all those aspects I've enumerated, are well ahead of us, or ahead of us, at the very least. And on a global scale, as I said, the Philippine ranking is always on the lowest third. In June this year, I was invited to join a tourism roadshow, meeting Filipino communities in Chicago, New York, Toronto, and great crowds everywhere we went. Filipino community leaders, academics, young Filipino Americans and Filipino Canadians. And a group of academics told me, the Filipinos are the second biggest ethnic group now in the US, second to the Mexicans. And yet, we are described as the invisible minority. Invisible minority? Why? Because Filipinos tend to hide their ethnicity. They're not as proud of their ethnicity as the Chinese, the Koreans, the Japanese, and Indians, who band together, who unite together, and are readily identifiable. Some are even embarrassed, according to them. Some are even embarrassed and apologetic for being a Filipino. Well, you remember that piece written by James Fallows about that year, about the damaged culture, and we were incensed, and we got mad at him for writing about our culture being damaged. But I reread it. You read it too. And it seems that the guy was telling the truth about us. The Filipinos just fight Filipinos. And among all Asians, we probably have the weakest sense of identity. Well, we've got to refute that, and we ought to show Mr. Fallows and the like that we can go beyond our ethnic, our race, our being Ilocano or Ilonggo or Waray or even Tagalog, that we are one nation, one Filipino. This year, as we close the celebration of the 150th birth anniversary of our national hero, we will ask ourselves some of the questions we will tackle today. How do arts and culture figure in national unification and identity? How can culture have a positive and affirmative influence on society? How can media, education, and the new communication technologies, especially social media, uphold our identity, nationalism, moral sense? Finally, how can the state promote cultural diversity as an integral part of national development? of nation building. We have so much to be proud of as a nation. Rizal, to me, is the ultimate reformer. He is the first Asian reformer that has influenced, I think, in a sense, the likes of Gandhi, his contemporary Tagore, and Sun Yat-sen. Education for all, that's what Rizal said, education for all. The recognition of Filipinos as equals by the Spaniards. Granting of civil liberties beginning with freedom of speech and of the press, secularization of parishes, the inclusion of Filipinos in the Spanish Cortes. These are the demands that Rizal asked of our Spanish colonial masters and has been consistently advocating. What held all these things together for Rizal was his deep, abiding love for his country. Rizal's greatness lies in the fact that he's proud of being Filipino, of being one with all Filipinos. This sets him apart from many of our heroes and leaders. Rizal's legacy entails emulating that which was central to his own heroism. The importance of patriotic expression in the formation, reform, and progress of the Filipino nation. In conclusion, let me say that in this age of immense change and innovation and transformation, especially technological, instantaneous information, real-time communications, we can expect, and we hope this conference will be challenged by ours, will challenge our sense and sensibilities of what is still truly Filipino. The globally mobile Filipino workers is continuously exposed to other philosophies, belief systems, climates, ways of life, and forms of expression. What must we preserve and adapt? And what must we promote for future generations who are growing up in an increasingly borderless era of post-modernity and post-colonialism? There is truly once-in-a-lifetime opportunity for us Filipinos and the Philippines. According to the United Nations, in 2 years' time or 3 years' time, 2015, we will enter what it calls a demographic window. And that window will start from 2015 and last till 2050. During that demographic period, there will be more Filipinos working, more Filipinos of working age than Filipinos dependent on the rest, which are in school or retired. And the potential for growth and development is there in that period. It's up to us whether we seize that opportunity or not. But there it is. By 2025, according to the research arm of the European Union, by 2025 it's only about maybe 13, 14 years away. Asia will be producing almost 30% of global income and output. It will be produced here in Asia. And according to the Asian Development Bank, by 2050, 51 to 54% of global income and output will be produced here in Asia. But that's why the opportunity for us is here, if we just seize it. And if we create, our generation now, try to foster the climate and environment that will allow our young people to grow and flourish. In one word, we have before us an unparalleled and distinct chance to ascend the economic ladder and realize a more prosperous and equitable life for our people. But how are we to attain all this if our sense of identity is weak? If we're going to take pride in our color and race? If our sense of nation or nationhood is not inclusive of the diversity within our midst? If independence from colonizers and colonizing influences did not reinforce our sense of identity of being Filipino, what will? This is, to me, this is the challenge that we face in this one-day conference. And we thank Frankie for bringing us all together to answer some of these questions. Thank you very much.